Excellent. Welcome everybody to the SharePoint Hackathon. The first live stream is now about to start, which is awesome. Right, Mark?
It was awesome, and I can't help but love that music. It just sort of like, it could just be, rocking, rolling right into the hackathon. Without it, I think we would just be sitting here going, oof. But with that music, boom, hackathon is on.
That is true. Energized. So on Monday, we did have the keynote. We had me and Mark on the keynote hosting, and then we had the real stars. We were Kripal and Ed and also CJ Tan talking about the individual categories. And this is the first specific live stream. We're going to, in the first, English is so hard. In the first one, we're going to focus on SharePoint portals and what are the latest and greatest and awesome capabilities within that particular functionality. And then we have other live stream coming up tomorrow, next Monday, and next Wednesday as well. So all of that available in the notes and hackathon details.
Yeah, there's going to be a whole slew of everything that is mainly meant to inspire you. You're going to get a lot of cheat around what you can do with portals so you can inform what it is that your hack is going to look like. Today is all about learning about portals and sites. That's pages, that's web parts, that's section layouts, that's the flexibility of section layouts. There's a lot that you're going to see in demo. There's a lot, if you have questions that we can answer with our experts once you meet them, you will see they are going to guide you through how to build beautiful portals and sites and pages and all the good stuff. So it's a great start to see what it is that you can do with SharePoint these days. And then the intention is for you to go do it. Don't forget, this is not just a webinar. This is an inspiration so that you can think, wow, I didn't know that I could do that with SharePoint. And then go do it and then translate it into your submission for the hackathon.
Absolutely. That's a great segue, actually. Let's go and quickly have a look on and recapping what are the categories and how do you actually submit within the hackathon. So first of all, we're running the hackathon between March 3rd to 17th. 17th is Monday, not next Monday, the Monday after, intentionally over the weekend. So if you want, you can actually record during the weekend as well. Now, we do have 4 different categories in this hackathon. We have SharePoint agents, SharePoint portals, Viva connections, and then SharePoint framework. So we're looking into functionalities or processes where you would be using SharePoint agents. How are you using SharePoint agents? And creating a video on that one and submitting that as part of the hackathon, or creating a video on SharePoint portals, which is today's topic. So what you can do with out-of-the-box with SharePoint, with the beautiful out-of-the-box features, what we have available. The next Monday, we have a specific topic on Viva Connection. We're going to talk about all of the good things, what you can do with Viva Connection, with mobile and tablet and all of those experiences. And then the SharePoint framework category is more for pro developer. Let's go crazy and we can build whatever we want on top of the SharePoint, because SharePoint is not just a product, it's also a platform, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and remember, this is a left to right view of what might be a different skill set that you have. You might not be a pro code developer. I am not, but I love SharePoint agents and I can do it in a couple of clicks. You got to maybe learn how to do it. You got to complete it, put it into a scenario, add context that makes sense for how you're programming the agent. Or if you're wanting to build out Viva connections, it doesn't have to become your main home site. This is also a place where you can configure and trial and do some things that maybe you haven't yet done. So remember, this is something for everybody, and all these different categories, they do not require hard, deep level hacking type coding. Hacking can mean you're hacking together a nice page to communicate effectively. So remember, this is for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody is welcome on this one. Now, then the interesting thing, just to recap also, what about the awards? So what can I actually get as part of my submission for the hackathon? So first of all, every single submission will get a badge. You will be awarded by official creative badge, which is a beautiful looking design, SharePoint Hackathon 2025 badge for this year. The winners of the hackathon category, so there's 4 categories as we recovered. For all of those winners, we're providing either coaching and mentoring time with Heather Cook or myself, so you can actually choose which option do you actually want to take. And that's 4 hours of coaching and mentoring time. Heather is a principal PM manager in Microsoft, if you do not know who's Heather Cook, and I'm a principal. What is my title? It doesn't matter. You probably, yes, it's me. So, and then
principal Finnish guy. That principal Finnish guy.
Yes, indeed. And then you can also win. The winners of the individual categories will get also a ticket to Microsoft 365 community conference with a hotel voucher. So we get all of those details in the rules as well, updated, which is great. So that's a great opportunity of actually joining Microsoft on a stage in Las Vegas to show what you built, because you won the category. We want to actually have a discussion with you, and there's going to be an awesome event in early May at Las Vegas, where everybody should be joining, right, Mark?
That's correct. It's a great time to showcase what it is that you've done. It's also a great place for everybody to learn. There's going to be sessions with the SharePoint team. You're going to see a lot of people from SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, Viva, Copilot. There's a lot of people coming, hundreds of sessions. A lot of our executive leadership team are also coming for meetups, for breakouts, for lightning talks, for on and on and on. It's a pretty big event. Microsoft is leaning in as a sponsor alongside our partners. So Vegas is going to come alive with Microsoft 365. And again, from a hackathon handoff to the event, we hope to bring in and showcase what it is that people did so that other people can learn through you. And of course, you can get your time in the spotlight, which is worthy, especially if you've been joining the hackathon and get to that point where you win one of the prizes.
Yes, absolutely. And then the final thing on that slide was basically everybody who's submitting, and if their solution is cool and nice and all of that, you definitely can book yourself, or you will get the option of book yourself to demo your solution and design or scenario with SharePoint agents directly within our community calls, where we do welcome community demos as well. So a great option to showcase what you built with the community, even though you wouldn't be necessarily winning and get to show that in Las Vegas as well, but you still get visibility through our channels.
So before we jump into really the main part of the show today, I want to make sure everybody gets to that page that Vesa mentioned, which is the https://aka.ms/SharePoint/hackathon. That is going to take you to the main page where you can learn about everything, the upcoming webinars, the prizes, the rules, the FAQs, how to submit, where to submit, all the good stuff. It's a really nice page. It's a central location for everything that you want to know about the hackathon. And as we go, we'll certainly be making sure that it's updated so that when something's on demand, you have that awareness in our playlist.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it's time to actually invite the real stars of the show today, right, Mark?
It
so let's
is.
get Caitlin and Melissa on the show as well. Here we go.
Ta-da! Welcome, welcome. So we hear you have a little bit of content up your sleeves that you're willing to share today. Is that right?
Yes, lots and lots of fun stuff to show. So we're very excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I bet everybody's very excited to see what you can do and then go do it themselves.
Absolutely. Now, before we go to the demo section and go, well, recapping some slides, and then there's going to be a live, awesome demo coming up as well. No pressure there. Let's do a quick recap who you are. So let's go, Melissa and Caitlin. Can you do a quick intro of who you are and what is your background? What have you been responsible within the SharePoint portals?
Absolutely. So hi, everyone. Excited to have you all here. So my name is Melissa Torres. I'm the product lead for SharePoint Sites and Pages. And so I have been working on a lot of the stuff that you're going to see today. And for those of you who've been following SharePoint for a while, before being a stint on the SharePoint Sites and Pages, I was also working on things like hubs and a lot of other templates, features, and stuff like that. So quite a bit of time in SharePoint, which I absolutely love.
Excellent. And let's go to Caitlin next.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Helms. I'm a product manager on the SharePoint Sites and Pages team. And since I've been on the team, I've had the opportunity to work on the content pane and more recently flexible sections or flexible layouts. So really excited to demo a lot of new features, including flexible sections today.
Awesome. I think before we get too far, just so you both know, people are signing in from everywhere. I'm going to do a quick show. We got people from Colombia, Brazil, Vegas, we got Houston, we got Spain, we got people from Australia, from India. There's so many people that are signed in. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. No pressure again, Caitlin and Melissa, once we get started.
Fair game, fair game. Now, I think we're going to go quickly a few slides, Melissa, with you as an introduction on what we have actually done on the SharePoint portal sites, and then we transition to the live demo with Caitlin. So let's actually start that by going through that together with you, Melissa.
Sounds great. Well, today I am really excited to be here with Caitlin to showcase some of the great innovations that you should be using as part of this awesome hackathon opportunity. Thank you for being here. So with over 2 million sites created every day, you are in great company if you're using SharePoint to communicate information and store knowledge across your organization. And of course, the more content you have in SharePoint, the more impact you're going to have with those SharePoint agents that you also should be hacking with, and Copilot that can have on your and your organization. So with 2 million sites, it's a huge responsibility to empower so many creators, which is why about 18 months ago, we embarked on a journey to really overhaul the SharePoint portal's user experience. So we've added a dozen features of the authoring experience, brand new UX to tie it all together. So really like brought up the biggest change we've ever had to the SharePoint UX in the history of the product. Now, whether you're an expert in SharePoint already, or this is your first time working with SharePoint, SharePoint Portals is a great starting point. It really is about connecting your organization to be able to inform and engage with their broad audience. So whether it's to create product or team or strategy clarity, or to drive transparency, share news and announcements at coming events, or help team members on board, SharePoint Portals really help you keep your organization in the loop. So, and like Mark said earlier, it's all about, it doesn't require a lot of coding or anything. You'll just be able to, what you see is what you get, click and edit to drag elements, and Caitlin's going to show you all about that. Vesa, for the next slide.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
So here is a look for inspiration at some of the common scenarios that organizations use SharePoint portals for. So from a landing destination for your organization with the home, to hubs for either your department or division or product line, to as well as sharing information through knowledge sites. So if you need some inspiration of like, hey, if I'm starting a portal as part of this hackathon for the first time ever, and I don't know where to start or what scenario to go after, here's a couple of ones that you can use. And next. And finally, because I mentioned it was the biggest, we're this mission to really simplify the author experience, but today it's all about really enabling the creation of compelling content to really showcase the best looks on the web. So Caitlin, I'm going to hand it over to you, who's going to go and show us what new tools you have in your tool belt to be able to build these beautiful sites.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. So today I'm very excited to demo a page creation, or how I'm going to create a page using all of these new and exciting features that we recently enabled to make your pages look great. So let's see if we jump over to the demo environment. All right, so now you should be able to see my screen. And the first thing that I want to call out is I have this page and I've started creating a page to announce a project Robosphere. At the top, you'll notice that I have a title region, or what appears to be the old title region. But I've realized that I really don't want this title region to be at the top of my page. I want a different section to be at the top of my page. So what we've done is we reimagined the old title region to be a banner web part that exists within a full width section. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. First, I'll remove the banner web part, and then I'll remove the full width section. And now you'll see that I have a new section at the top of my page that I'm going to use as a title region. So next, I'm going to show you a new section type called flexible sections. Flexible sections can be added to a page using the plus button that shows you the section toolbox. At the top left, you'll notice a new flexible option. This is the flexible section that I've already started working on, and so I'm going to make a few adjustments and show you how this works. First, let me go and add an image or a text web part using the web part toolbox. When I click and drag, you'll notice that I have the ability to drag and drop the web part and place it anywhere I want within the section. Once I drop the text web part, I'm going to then choose my title. After inserting this text, I do want the title to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to go ahead and change the font size. Now I'm going to resize web parts. So resizing web parts is one of the really cool things that you can do within flexible sections. There are resize handles on the borders of web parts. So when you click and drag the resize handle, you notice that the web part size updates accordingly. So let me go ahead and center this web part in the middle of the section. Next, I'm going to go and make some adjustments to this image web part. Let me go ahead and move this to be the center. And then similarly, I'm also going to resize the web part as well. So I'll use the drag handle on the bottom left. When I'm dragging and dropping, you might also be seeing some red or pink lines show up, and those are alignment cues. It's a little more difficult to see them on this dark background, but I do want to call out that we have added alignment cues to help you line up web parts within your flexible sections. Now, the next thing that I want to highlight is that two web parts are overlapping, which is brand new within flexible sections. We have this text web part that is overlapping on top of this image web part. So if you have web parts that overlap, but you want to change their arrangement, we've added the Arrange Items dropdown in the web part toolbar. So you'll click the Arrange Items dropdown and you'll see options similar to PowerPoint: bring to front, send to back, bring forward, and send backward. Let's go ahead and bring this one to the front. And you'll notice that the arrangement updates, and now it's on top of the title text that was originally in front of it. I'll go ahead and send that back so it looks better. And the next thing I want to highlight is the ability to multi-select different web parts at the same time. So let's say I want to go ahead and move down these two image web parts, but I want to do it at the same time. You can click one web part, you can hold down Control on your keyboard, and then you can click another web part. And this puts you into a multi-selected mode. So you'll see at the top left, they have a shared toolbar where you can move them together. You can also duplicate them, delete them, or change their arrangement together. And lastly, you can group them. So if you have web parts that you know you want always to be together, such as an image and description text or something like that, you can group web parts. And what this grouping does is that it persists the group across your entire editing session. So let's say I go ahead and make additional adjustments to other web parts within this flexible section. Whenever I go back to one of the web parts in a group, first the group gets selected. So you'll notice that when I clicked on this image in the center, the group was selected. But if I want to make any additional adjustments to one of the web parts in a group, I can simply click it again, and you'll see that now the image web part toolbar has shown up, and then I can even resize and move web parts while they're still a part of a group. So that's really cool. And if you want to remove an item from a group or delete a group, you can simply click the ungroup item that's in the Arrange Items dropdown. So let me make this back to how it was so it looks a little bit better. The last thing I'll highlight in terms of flexible sections is the ability to resize the section manually using the resize handle at the bottom. So if you want your section to be longer, you can use the resize handle at the bottom to make it any size that you want. And you'll notice that the size does automatically adjust based on your web part if it grows or if you move it. So if I move this text, for example, to the bottom of this section, you'll notice that the section is growing to account for the space that this web part takes up. So I think that's it on flexible sections, but I do want to talk about some recent text enhancements that we've added. So you'll notice this title kind of text that I've added here. I set the text to be 68 pixels. But now, instead of this, you can actually type in the exact pixel value for the text that you want. So I can make this up to like 80 or even up to 200, but 200 would be a little bit big in this instance. We've also added the ability to utilize a color picker to choose your font color. We have additional bullet styles. So you have bullet styles listed here. We have new numbering styles here as well. And then we have the ability to insert a table however you may want the dimensions of that table to be. So moving forward, I do want to talk about another thing that's related to fonts, and that is custom fonts. So if your organization uses a custom font, you have the ability, if you're an admin, to upload those fonts via the Brand Center and then create a font package and apply that font package to a SharePoint site. So I'm going to show you how to apply a font package. If you go to the gear icon in the top right, and then you click on Change the Look, you'll notice a font option. When you click on this, you'll see that any custom fonts that you have. So for example, this is a font that has been uploaded from my organization's admin. You'll also see some other ones that have been provided from Microsoft. When I click the other fonts, you'll notice that it updates in real time. So you're able to see how a new font would apply to the entire site. So let's go ahead and change that back to how it was and cancel that one. In addition to custom fonts, we've also added the ability to make custom theme packages. So let's say your organization has certain colors that you use and you want to be used as a theme across SharePoint sites. Within the same brand center that I mentioned, you can upload your own custom colors, and then you can create theme packages and apply those to your SharePoint site. So similarly, you click the gear at the top right, and then you click the Change the Look button, and you'll see a theme option. Here you'll see that there are some theme packages that have been created specifically for this site, some other ones that have been provided from my organization, and then some that have been provided from Microsoft. And similar to how font packages work, when you go to test out any of these theme packages, it updates in real time, so you can see how the changes would appear on your site. So now moving down, I want to talk about a new web part that we've recently rolled out called editorial cards. Editorial cards are a brand new web part with tons of customization options. So if you go to the section or the web part property pane, you have the ability to change the layout options across 3 different layouts. So there's an image overlay, there's a color block, and there is a split. So going back to the color block, to change the text, you can type in text on the editorial card itself, and you can make adjustments to the alignment of this text in the property pane. So you can see you can change the alignment as well. You can also change the background of the editorial card. So here you'll notice that I have a stock image that's been uploaded to be the background of this editorial card, but you can choose for it to be one of your theme colors. You can make additional adjustments to this image using the advanced image editor, or you can apply an overlay color and an overlay opacity to the kind of background. And lastly, there's a call to action. So here you'll notice that I have an icon button. That's a call to action with a link that's attached to it. You can change this to be a button, icon, which is what it was, text, or it can be the entire actual editorial card. So that is a really exciting web part that we are excited for everyone to start using and have a lot of customization there. The next thing I want to talk about is section backgrounds. So this section that you see has a custom image that's been uploaded, a stock image for the section background. If you go to the section properties pane, you have the ability to add one of your theme colors as the section background or one of the Microsoft provided background options. But you can click change background and upload any custom background that you would want. You can use the advanced image editor to make any additional adjustments, and then you can even make some additional adjustments here, such as the overlay color, the focal point, the fill model, and the opacity. So here I'll adjust the opacity, I'll change the gradient direction, and I'll change the overlay opacity as well. So really exciting that you can use any kind of backgrounds that you want within any section on your page.
So Caitlin, we're coming to you midstream in your demo just to ask a few questions that we saw coming through from our audience. The first one that I saw that I think is top of mind for a lot of people is just the rollout cadence for the flexible sections, as much as we can share about where we are and what to expect in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so right now we are released to 100% of targeted release, but we are planning on rolling out to 100% general availability by late April, early May. So if you are in a targeted release tenant, you should have access to it now, but if not, you might need to wait about another month.
So what you're saying is flexible layouts require a flexible rollout plan.
It always does. Now, but on that one, actually, it's a good discussion point. If you would like to have your submission to use flexible layouts and you don't have it within your production tenant right now, you can always go and subscribe to a trial. So you can get an additional tenant, use that to create beautiful looking designs, set that tenant to be in a targeted release tenant. You can actually do that in the tenant admin view. Go to organizational settings, and there's a release sequence. I can't remember exact terminology on that, but you basically said that this is a targeted release, and poof, all of a sudden the features are available. So definitely an option for anybody as well.
So I'm going to combine a couple of things that I saw just as comments, but also one thing that I noticed, a lot of the work that you're doing might seem to people to need some design background, or I will also qualify. I'm not a coder. I'm not a designer at all. But a lot of the work that you and the team have done, especially in that new pane where you can kind of drag things over, can you kind of talk about some of the advancements? You've sort of demoed them already, but if you're not a designer, there's a lot of things that we do with the layouts and templates, but just that notion of that right-hand edit pane, drag and drop, just to hear it from a designer perspective.
Yeah, so we have a couple things that hopefully will help authors utilize flexible sections, one of which is the new section templates. So right now you will see about 12 section templates that are fully flexible sections in the toolbox on the right-hand side. So these are the ones that we have now, but we're actually in the process of releasing even more. I think we'll have about 8 additional flexible section templates and then 6 templates that aren't flexible sections. So we really hope that these section templates will help kickstart that creation flow. And you'll see that like some of these sections that I've created, I've actually taken section templates and adjusted them myself. So I've gotten inspiration myself even while creating this page to demo. So those are really helpful. And then I'll also say we are in the process of working on supporting design ideas for flexible sections. So that is one thing that's not available now, but keep an eye out for that. And then in terms of, what you mentioned, in terms of the dragging and dropping from the toolbox over to the flexible section, the easiest way to add web parts to flexible sections is through drag and drop from the toolbox and from the stock images over into your flexible section. So you're able to drag and drop any web part that you might want over into the section and then drop it. So that's definitely the easiest way.
Awesome. That's great. I think the last question I saw, which will be a really easy one, I think I know the answer, but I'd love for you to queue it up. Does anybody need any special licensing to get flexible sections, to use them, to once they roll out into their tenant? Anything they need to do besides wait?
Nope, nothing to do. Flexible sections will be available in across all tenants, and so there's nothing special that you need to do. Just wait for it to arrive to your tenant.
Really cool.
Awesome.
Pretty cool.
Awesome.
And I have to quickly call out. It's lovely to see the comments coming in, and people like Richard was just saying so many great features rolling out in SharePoint. It is really, really cool. It's really, there's so many cool features. So which we have seen today, and there's even more to come, right?
Yes.
There is. So I think that's our exit cue. Caitlin, back to your demo.
Yeah, awesome. No, thanks for the questions. So moving on, I do want to highlight another new addition to a web part style that we have recently added. Here you'll see a section with a hero web part and a stream web part. This hero web part is the web part that you all know, you all love, but we've added a new layout to it. If you go to the web part property, or if you look in the layout dropdown in the toolbar, you'll notice a new carousel option. So when you click on this carousel, you'll notice that this is a brand new layout option that really highlights, the different kind of things that you want to highlight here. And the cool thing about this is also that there's a ton of customization in the web part property pane. So if you look over here on the right-hand side, you have 3 different styles for the cards or the slides within this hero carousel. One being image overlay, one being the text box, and then the last one being the diagonal split. You also have the ability to change, the alignment. You can change which image you want to be in this slide, and then you can add text, heading, description, and a call to action. So this is fully customizable, and we're really excited to see how this carousel is used. And then even within the carousel, you can make, different adjustments to the images here. For example, this is a slide that's using the diagonal split, and I have an image of a drone behind it, but let's say I want to adjust the image of the drone so that more of the package is shown in this slide. What I can do is adjust the focal point, and you'll see that updates. So it's really cool that you can kind of do a lot of different adjustments and customization to the hero web part in the new carousel view. And the last thing that I'll call out about this carousel view is that when it is in publish mode or view mode, you have a setting in the properties pane right here that says autoplay. So this means that when you're looking at this in view mode, the slides in the carousel will just automatically go between the slides, so people don't have to click through. This is really great if you have different news articles that you want to highlight, or you want to make sure that people are seeing all the different things. You can put it in autoplay mode. So that's it in terms of the hero web part. I do want to talk about stream as well. So let me go ahead and resize this. Oh, that was a little too small. Let's get it a little bigger. And then I will resize the stream web part. And while I'm resizing this, I will call out with flexible sections, some of the web parts have fully dynamic resizing capabilities. This means that the web parts can be resized to any width. There is a minimum width, but pretty much any width. There are other web parts that we only have 4 width options. So these two, the stream web part and the hero web part, right now there are only 4 width options, but we've added these kind of like drop hints or alignment cues so that you can kind of tell where the drop is going to be. So that is one thing that is right now, it exists within flexible sections. So moving on to the stream web part. The stream web part is the web part to use if you want to highlight video in your SharePoint pages. The stream web part can be used to highlight one video or multiple videos. And you change the videos to highlight by clicking on the web part property pane in the right, and then clicking the source here. So you can select a single video, a playlist, a folder, or all the videos that exist on your site. There are also 2 different layout options. Right now we have grid and we have theater. And then lastly, you can say how many videos you want to show. So you can say how many videos you want to be within this kind of carousel and how many rows, and then you can sort. So if you want to sort by author or recently edited, created, you can do that here as well. So the stream web part, definitely use that if you want to highlight video within your pages. Moving on down, you'll see a flexible section that I have built. And this one is about a team and its mission. And I do want to highlight the image shapes that we're using here. You'll notice that when I click on the image is actually grouped with the text. So let me click on the image again. And I want to highlight that image shapes are available that can be easily applied to your images using the dropdown in the image web part toolbar. So if I go back to the original viewpoint of this image, I can then apply any kind of shape that I want on top of this image very easily. You'll notice it doesn't actually like crop or edit the image. It simply applies an overlay. So this is a really cool kind of functionality that you can use to add some more kind of flexibility and shape to your flexible sections or page in general. And then the last thing that I want to cover on this demo page is the ability to add a text overlay. So you'll notice in the bottom, I have an about the author section with an image of the author and a little title and about the author. I can click on the image web part, and then I can click the text overlay button in the web part toolbar. And you'll notice that when this happens, a kind of text box appears that overlays on top of the image. I have a couple other customizations that I can do to this text overlay. I can adjust the text option colors, the text box color itself, the opacity, and even add an image overlay itself here. So that is something that you can do to easily add text on top of image with text overlay. So with that, I think we have a video lined up to talk about, how authors can easily make these pages. We've talked about all the cool new stuff that'll make them look more exciting, but how can we help you build them? So I think we have a quick video lined up to talk about co-authoring. So here you'll notice that I'm on a page and there are 2 other people editing this page with me. As I scroll down, you'll notice that there are people editing text, and I can see where others are located within the page. So yeah, this is really cool, and it's really kind of nice that now you don't have to check out pages. You don't have to kind of take turns editing pages. People can edit pages together. You can edit flexible sections together. So we really hope that you'll work together when you're building these great pages. So now if we jump back over to my demo screen, I'm going to show a couple of other new cool and exciting features that hopefully will help you while you're authoring great pages. The first is design ideas. So design ideas is a kind of new thing that we've added to pages that gives you the options, new design options for your sections. If you click the design ideas in the right-hand side of the content pane, you'll notice that the design ideas load, and what it's doing is it's actually giving me new design ideas with different kind of image shapes, different sizes, different section layouts, all of these kind of different options. And I can even click see more if I don't like any of the ones I've seen. So if I find one I like, I can then apply it to my page by clicking it, and you'll see that the design idea has been added to the page. So next thing I want to talk about is RTE rewrite, or text rewrite. So Copilot has been integrated into the text web part and allows it to easily rewrite text for you. So if you click on the Copilot button within the text web part, you'll notice an auto rewrite button. And when that happens, you'll then be able to see Copilot look at this text and generate some new options for this text. So let's see, after it loads, sometimes it takes a minute depending on the text that's there. It should give me some options that I'm able to kind of flip through and see kind of which one I want to apply to this page. It looks like it might be a little slow for me today, so let me try one more time. Well, hopefully you can try this out yourself. Okay, so it loaded here. So you'll notice that in the bottom, there are 3 different options for me to apply the kind of Copilot rewrites that have been kind of recommended for me. So I can either replace the content, the text, or I can insert the text below and then make adjustments manually to the text. So that's how you can use the kind of Copilot within text to help you rewrite text on your page. Next, I'll talk about the content pane. So the content pane is this new pane on the right-hand side, and we really hope that you will start using it to easily access web parts, stock images, section templates, and all of the tools that you might need, such as like the web part properties, the section properties, design ideas. This is really going to transition to be the home of all of your tools during the authoring process. So couple things that you can do from the content pane. We have this toolbox pane, and this toolbox allows you to add web parts, find any web part that's available to your organization, sort and filter web parts as you're used to on the canvas. You can also search stock images. So for stock images, you can search any kind of stock image. So if I click drone and I search that, you'll notice some images of drones have been added here. So then if I scroll back up, I can find one that I want, and I can drag and drop it onto the page. If I want to see more options for stock images, I can click see more media, see more stock images, or even see the recent images that I've accessed. And if I don't see one that I like, I can upload my own using the browse images button at the bottom. And then lastly, like I showed earlier, we have section templates here, and that catalog will be growing soon. And I have used a lot throughout this session, the web part properties, the section properties pane. Using the second pivot in the content pane, it's the way to access the properties pane for both section and web part properties. I showed design ideas earlier, so that is the other pane that you have access to in the content pane. And then we also have the accessibility assistant that I think is still in the process of rolling out, so that should hit you soon. And then we have page details that will be moving to the content pane as well. So that is all I have to cover. Really excited for everyone to build their SharePoint pages using the new features that I've discussed today, and we can't wait to see what you all build. But I think let's transition back over and see if there's any time for Q&A.
So cool stuff. It's like a new feature, new feature, new feature, new feature. It's great to see the comments in the live feed as well. So people are amazed and super excited. I've been around for too long almost with SharePoint, but super excited to see all of these new capabilities available. Right, Mark?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been using them for a while, so I feel like this is the first time that some people are seeing them. I can just tell by the reactions, which is great because the team has been doubling down, I think, since 2016, but even in the last 2 years, it's just, how can we make pages easier for people to create, easier to make more beautiful, great experience for consuming? I think, half the battle is, how do these look on all these different devices? We've had a couple questions real specific to mobile and tablet. I think we'll get to that. But just knowing that there's so much work that the SharePoint team has done so that you don't have to create a mobile view. In the past, it used to be a separate ASPX page. Boo! Today, it just reflows and looks great. So congratulations to both of you. And of course, a lot of people behind the team coding and putting the plan together to tackle the what are we hearing and how can we tackle that and make it real in the product. So exciting to see, and of course, really exciting to see the response today. But yeah, I think we should get to some questions. Melissa, I know we had a couple queued up for you that we wanted to ask. One was around the tablet and mobile experience, maybe specific to the section layouts, flexible sections, but overall maybe just talking a little bit around how we're looking at responsive design today and specifically with some of the new features.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start by saying that obviously, like ever since we started on the journey for redoing our SharePoint Surface, we care deeply about making sure that we have a great story, not only in desktop, but also in mobile and tablet size as well. And so everything we showed today, we absolutely take a look at that as well. And so from the carousel to the editorial cards, everything will work just as well in the mobile and tablet view. Now, a lot of the questions come up for sure in terms of the flexible sections, because with added flexibility, which empowers you to do amazing things, there's questions about, hey, how does it flow? So on initial, what you're seeing right now, I would say it's a top priority for us. It's something that we're definitely thinking about very deeply. Initially, we're going to release with 2 options where you can control a little bit of the reflow logic. So definitely play with that, but it's definitely something as well that we're thinking about how to get better. Caitlin, is there anything else you want to add specifically on flexible sections?
Yeah, I would say as you are using flexible sections and creating them, definitely look in the section properties pane. Like Melissa mentioned, there are 2 different options for how you can tell that section to reflow on a mobile device or an email. So definitely take a look at that. And I would also say that utilize the grouping functionality. Grouping items together tells us that you want them to be reflowed together. So if you have a text and an image that needs to stay side by side, if you group them, then they will always reflow together, one on top of the other, in a smaller device or on a mobile device. So 2 things: look at the control in the section properties pane, and then also utilize grouping.
That's a great tip, by the way. That's a really great tip related on grouping. So good that everybody actually got that one in the flow as well. And what else on the questions, Mark?
Yeah, the next one that I saw came from Kurt, who is asking about where do the stock images come from? And I want to throw in a sort of an FYI softball that I think you can expand on too, that just talks about when you showcased a lot of what you can do with images. There's a lot of categories of images and how people can put in their own images from their computer, from a library, can you maybe just walk a little bit, answer the question, but then just highlight all the ways that people can bring images into SharePoint?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So the stock images you see right there, we call them like the Microsoft, those are curated by us. You will notice that it's the same catalog that you see as well as if you're using PowerPoint or Word. So those are curated that we kind of get and share with you all to be able to use and give you inspiration. And it's also the same thing that we use in our Copilot as well as in Design Ideas. Now, as Mark mentioned, we actually have quite a bit of options. One, you can always upload your own because you're in control of your destiny. But as well, we also have organizational assets library. And I want to make a call out for that one, because in many organizations, you have a shared repository, you have your own kind of branded assets and imagery or logos, and you want to use that, and you want the rest of your organization to be able to use it. So one of the options we highlight as well is that organizational assets option. So you can upload your own organizational assets and then people can easily pick from them. And we didn't get to show it today, but one thing that I'm really excited about is we're working on having Design Ideas actually use your own organizational assets. So that's another option. And there's also the option for within the site. So if you store within the site or in your OneDrive, there's a couple other options as well.
Very good. I'm going to bring up an age-old question, and you should know lots of comments about photos and some follow-up questions as well as we have time. But the one that I think will always come up in any webinar for Microsoft, and I think it's a great question, is what's the rollout plan for GCC? Could be for a specific feature if you want to just walk through the rollout process, or if there's a specific answer to what we showcased today. And they always want to know, and we always want to make sure that the plan is the right plan for government.
And let's make sure that the international audience also knows what this means, because GCC doesn't necessarily mean a thing. So
yeah, I'll cover that one. GCC stands for Government Community Cloud, sovereign clouds that are treated a little bit specifically around privacy and some aspects that they require before features can be released to them, different than the regular enterprise and standard rollout. But Melissa, Caitlin, any comments around what you've shown and how people in the GCC space can expect it?
So we've kind of like the entirety of SharePoint, I would say not only SharePoint, but M365, our goal is to try to get as much of the features that you see in what we call kind of our GA environment, general availability, to also flow into our GCC environments as well. So for the most part, like it's actually part of our rollout. So it's not an extra step. Some features do require some additional work because of the nature of those environments. And so those are the cases where you'll see some, slower rollout or having to wait a little longer. But for a lot of the stuff that we showed today, like flexible layouts, editorial cards, the carousel, that should just make its way to those to the GCC environments, just as in the usual cadence as the rest of the GA availability.
Awesome. I only want to add one little thing, and I won't name anybody by name, but fairly senior in the SharePoint world, Jeff Teeper, mentioned to his team that it really is important to plan everything for GCC, for everybody, not just GCC. But if there is a feature that isn't planned or wouldn't make it to GCC, then maybe we shouldn't do that feature. That's the summary of that. And I think it's great context for the question. I also think it's really good to know from top down, side out, the team is really focused on getting SharePoint in all its greatness to everybody. The next one I saw is based on what Caitlin was showing. So maybe Caitlin, this one is for you. It's kind of a nuanced question around when you plan out your page and it's going to look a little bit different on different devices. How can people know and understand the order and where to put things?
Yeah, so right now, as I mentioned earlier, we do have two different options for reflowing. One prioritizes the section from top to bottom, and one prioritizes the section from left to right. So there's a little bit of customization there, but we actually are working on and will soon be rolling out a preview mode. And this preview mode will allow you to see what the page looks like across desktop, mobile, and email. So this will help you better understand how your pages will look as you're editing, how they'll look across these different device types. Right now, there's no way for you to actually manipulate the mobile reflow order of web parts one by one, but there is that customization, as I mentioned, with the two different options, and then grouping will help as well. So when preview rolls out, I'll definitely be making another YouTube demo with Vesa. So stay tuned for that, and I'll give more of a rundown on how to utilize that feature.
Excellent. There was a question earlier, and I'm having a little trouble finding it, but it was around the ability to create custom section templates. And I know, Melissa, you had some thoughts here just to share that one. I'll try to find it so we can see it on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So we really, in full transparency, we don't support section level custom templates, but we do support page level custom templates. So for your site that you're for a site that you're in, you are able to create templates of a page, basically, that means make it easier if you, for example, you're trying to use the same layout of the same type of page over and over again. You can create it as a template and pick it from so that users can then pick it from the gallery. So yeah, I think also somebody asked about, might have been in reference to the layouts that Caitlin showed for Hero. And those layouts are locked. That's something that we've provided. There's no way to add your own. So just if that helps.
It helps a lot. I think it helps to know what is possible, what isn't possible. And then the reverse of that is it's helpful for us, and I'll say to Melissa, to understand what it is that people are curious and hint are wanting.
Yes.
I'm just going to throw in one of my favorite tips, and then Vesa, sorry,
sure, no worries.
is just a simple feature that's been around forever, but it really is in the node of templates. If I have a beautiful page and it maybe is a communication I do once a quarter or once a month, and I've already got it just the way I want it, I can do two things. I can save that page as a template, and then me as an owner of that or a community member of that site, other people could do it. They could use my page template or vice versa. The other thing is just a really simple action, which is create a new page from that page, which effectively doesn't use a template, but becomes a template for the next page. Saves so much time, and is a really great feature.
Yeah. Coming back on the previous discussion, I just want to recap on obviously the comments already in the chat is awesome because we're getting a lot of feedback on what is important and what is not important. And then whoever is watching the recording or afterwards, please use our comments and add comments and input, because all of that input will help on us to prioritize the next step of items within a roadmap. There's so many stuff what we can build. We need to prioritize that based on the input from customers. But before we go to the roadmap, let's do one more question, Mark, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
This one was good, so I'll just put it in the screen as well. How to add custom company fonts? We did show those fonts and all of that stuff, but how do I get started on doing that? So how does that happen?
Yeah, I can take that one. Yeah. So to add your own custom fonts, what you'll do is you'll go to the admin center. And then when you're in the admin center, you can search up or look for something called the brand center. Once you're at the brand center, you then have the ability to upload custom fonts that you can use for your organization. And once you've uploaded the list of fonts, then you can make a font package. So that's how you get there. You go to the admin center, then to the brand center.
Yes. And it's SharePoint Admin Center. Let's be super specific. You can find it from there, if I remember. Yes, but there's documentation out of it. But Brand Center is the functionality way how to do that for sure.
If you're watching right now, I'm just going to drop a help guide to SharePoint Brand Center. So expect that in the chat right now.
Now, just being cautious about the time as well, because we never want to go over time on this live stream. So we want to be strict on that. We don't want to go over time, but even though there's so much fun to answer this question. But should we have a quick look on the roadmap? So kind of, because we did prepare the slide. And Melissa, do you want to actually walk through the kind of a recapping on available now, coming soon, and the future investments?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to say about a good chunk of all the stuff that Caitlin showed today is actually available now. From the text rewrite editor copilot to design ideas to the brand center using custom fonts to the content pane toolbox to the custom section backgrounds, editorial cards, carousel and hero. I can just keep going. But that's actually all fully available now. So as you're doing your hackathon, and your hack, please take advantage of all these capabilities as much as you can. And coming soon, like as we've already kind of mentioned before, there are other features that have rolled out to targeted release. So some of those include flexible sections. We want you to be working with, if you happen to be working with others, Caitlin talked about this as well. You are now supporting Pages, the ability to collaborate on a single page with multiple people. So Pages co-authoring is also available in targeted release as well. So make sure to take advantage of those features. So if you're non-targeted release, and I believe I saw links in the comments for how to get yourself included in that. So awesome. And then, there's some stuff we didn't actually get to fully show that they're actually working on. So number one is, I think somebody in the comment called out the ability to create a page from a PowerPoint. Well, stay tuned, because that is actually something we're working on with the authoring copilot in SharePoint, which will let you be able to, whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it's a Word doc, use it to actually generate an entire page, which gives you a great jumping point and starting point, and takes advantage a lot of our great new features as part of it. So stay tuned for that one. And I'm particularly very excited because I think that's really going to transform the way that pages and sites get created. As well as we also have the, themes v2. Caitlin shared some of the theming and fonts, but we're really excited about enhanced themes because this will let you create color palettes that are more than just 2 colors. And so stay tuned for that as well. Additional text improvements. We're looking into motion and the authoring accessibility checker that Caitlin mentioned. Accessibility is really important to us, and we want to make sure that we're giving you the tools that as you're building your page, you're having accessibility in mind. So so stay tuned for more on that one. And part of the co-authoring collaboration journey is being able to make comments when you're working with others. And so we're also looking at the author inline comments, similar to what you see in other apps like Word and PowerPoint.
Yeah. Thank you, Melissa. And just to call out this is not the full list which we have in the roadmap. The full list is much bigger. So, but there's only certain things which we can mention right now on this time frame. So
I have to ask Melissa and Caitlin, is it true if somebody uses SharePoint today, for more than 2 weeks, it actually counts as a Bachelor of Arts in graphic design. Is that true? It's a great way to get certified. It makes me feel like I know what I'm doing, even with just a little bit more grid to work with the flexible layouts and sections. I just feel like my lack of design is brought up to such a great degree to be able to communicate more effectively, to put things front and center, to highlight them, to make it look like how I want it to look, or for it to tell me what might look a little bit nicer. So it's great. I'm joking about the BA and in design.
No,
but
maybe we can create a patch and then automatic. We need to think about this. So
Wait,
that's
do I get a badge?
Everybody gets a badge.
I think this is one of those Oprah moments. You get a badge. Sorry, you get a badge, and you get a badge, and you get a badge. But most importantly, you get a badge.
Yes, but that's a great segue once again on just a recapping on the hackathon, because we're showing all of these capabilities so that you who's watching the live stream or the recording will submit actually a submission for the hackathon and showing us what you used all of these features for. And we do have a competition. There's awards, and everybody will get a badge who are actually submitting on the hackathon as well. So please check the details at AKMS SharePoint/hackathon, and there's a link for additional details. All of that. And how do you submit there as well. Now, from a timing perspective, I think we need to move forward on recapping of things, right, Mark?
I think so. I mean, I want to make sure we have time to talk about the upcoming webinars and talk about the conference a little bit. But before we lose time, I'd love in maybe 30 seconds each, Melissa and Caitlin, just to share, based on what you've shown or what you maybe haven't shown, what you hope people do during the hackathon from a portals perspective. Melissa.
Oh man, I am really excited to see what you unlock. Creativity, showcase what you can do, showcase like real world scenarios of how you think this will come together. So I'm really excited to see how you go from what we had before, maybe show even before what it would have done, what it would look before, and what now you've been able to accomplish, leveraging all these capabilities, and how you think this will solve a real world scenario for the organization or organizations that you work with. Because at the end of the day, all this goodness is great, but it's all in the on the path to helping your organization get better, to stay more connected, be a conduit to the use of Copilot. And so I really think that I'm really excited to see what comes out of all this. So yeah.
Awesome. Caitlin, what is your share hack inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say I'm a little biased here because I have been working on flexible sections and flexible layouts for the past probably a year. So I have a lot of love for it, but I'm just so excited to see how customers utilize flexible sections and the types of sections that they build. Because of course, we in Microsoft, we have an idea of like, how might someone use this? But it's going to be so insightful for us to learn how you're actually using it, the pages that you're designing, the sections you're designing with it. So it can inform, like improvements that we make to it. So that's what I would say I'm most excited about, to see how people utilize flexible sections.
And
excellent.
If I may, I also get the feedback as well, right? Like we're also excited to see like, hey, what worked really well, like what can we improve and all that good stuff. So I'll just
absolutely. And feedback. We need to understand what works, what doesn't work, how we can improve these things. And if something isn't working, people are not happy about it, let us know. We're building all of these features for you as the end users of SharePoint. So that is the most important piece, if nothing else.
I was going to say, Melissa, Caitlin, thank you. We're going to move in so that everybody knows what's coming next. You just got a great grand tour of building beautiful portals. Now it's your chance to go build beautiful portals. Coming up, we're going to lean in and talk about some other things that you can hack so that you can learn more about SharePoint. So if we can bring up the slide that talks a little bit about what's coming up. Vesa, you've been planning this. What's coming next?
So first of all, everybody should be, register. Go to the AKMS SharePoint Hackathon register, and that will basically make sure that you will get an invitations and reminders of all of these live events, and you're able to submit as part of the hackathon as well. But on the live stream part, tomorrow on March 6th, we have SharePoint Agents, a 1 hour full similar kind of a setup as today. Me, Mark, and then Eric is joining us on going through the SharePoint Agents with live demos explaining how they can be used and what is sort of possible Similar kind of discussion today, but really on SharePoint Agent. And next week, we have the Viva Connection specific session and SharePoint Framework as a pro developer specific session as well. And then on March 26th, we have the awards ceremony. The hackathon was running between the 3rd and 17th. So between 17th and 26th, our judges will be evaluating submissions and watching all the videos which are coming in. But the key point here is please register, create some cool stuff, create a video, which can be from 1 minute to 8 minutes, and submit as a submission.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Register, create, submit. Please give a round of applause to Melissa and Caitlin. They did a wonderful job conveying what is a huge part of SharePoint. Those sites and pages really are what will build out and create your intranet. So round of applause. Woo! And thank you everybody for joining, for listening to what they had to share. Obviously, lots of questions and comments. We will try to address as much as we can. There was a last question about when is this video going to be available, and the second that we end, it becomes on demand. And
yes.
Each webinar will be on demand shortly after that we go live. So we don't want to make it so that it's hard to access. We want you to be able to watch it, share it, rewatch it so you can get some inspiration. And then remember, register, create, submit, do it.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
And let's see you in Microsoft 365 Community Conference.
Please welcome Jeff Tieper.
Oh, hello. Have you seen this? It's the SharePoint Hackathon happening in March 2025. Come on, check it out.
Welcome to the March 2025 SharePoint Hackathon.
Have you heard about the SharePoint Hackathon? Well, it's happening March 3rd through 17th. No matter if you're an end user, designer, architect, or developer, there's going to be a place for you in one of the 4 categories.
Hi, this is Mark Anderson. I hope you can join the SharePoint Hackathon this March.
See you at the SharePoint Hackathon in March 2025.
I'm Emily Mancini, and I'll be joining the SharePoint Hackathon. Will I see you there?
Hey, I'm Eric Overfield, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the SharePoint Hackathon this March.
Coming up in March, whether you're a business user, designer, architect, or developer, there's a place for you in this hackathon.
Hey there. I will be at the SharePoint Hackathon. Will you join us too? See you soon.